So as you might have seen, I did a little bit of a review on the Selena Gomez Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Contouring Liquid, and I picked up the shade Serene, and I kind of went back into the Space NK store again because I felt like I perhaps picked the wrong shade in terms of a contour. So I decided to exchange it, and I went with the shade Solace, and I picked this one up after having tried it in store and thought to myself, this is probably a better contour shade for what I would like to use it for. So this is the shade, and it's the shade that's above Serene. It's the cooler of the two. So let me open it and I'll show you how it looks. So I'll swatch it for you on my hand. But you can see it's much more cool toned than the Serene shade that I picked up originally. What's great about Space NK is if you use something and it's not quite right, you can exchange it. And let me show you how it looks sort of blended out on my skin. But can you see how that's more of a cool tone shade as opposed to Serene, which was more of a warmer tone shade? And I think if we're using it for contour, this is how I would like to use the shade. So I don't want to waste the product. So what I'm going to do is tap a little bit to where I would contour and do the same on the other side. But this is kind of how I would use it to contour. And even just tapping with my finger, you can see it's already blending, but I'm going to use the rest of this as well. But we're going to take this shade that I had here and just tap it out. I'm going to kind of follow the line here where I think this will look nice. So you can see that as I'm blending it out, it's blending out really, really nicely, and it's creating a shadow, and that's what I'm trying to do with this. I want it to create a contour before I put any other makeup on. You can use contour, like I like to use it just on my nose area here, and just to give it, make everything kind of like a shadow really. But can you see how that looks much more like a cool tone shade as opposed to the Serene shade that I had in my other video? Now don't get me wrong, I think at some point I might pick up Serene so that I've got more like a bronzer shade that's a liquid, but I thought for what the purpose of this is, it's much better as a contour initially, and then I can always go back. So what I'm going to do is just contour the areas where I would like to kind of shadow. So I'm just taking the rest and doing that and just creating a shadow there. I've got some on my nose, and then you can see how the shade is very much, if I move back, you can see that it's, the colour is very much more of a contour shade. And I did apply that on my hand a tiny bit, so I can go in with a little bit more, and I think I might, just to show you, because on camera the lights don't really show you that well. I'm just going to take it and use the doe foot this time and just tap it, so even when you see it on my skin, you can see that it's a lot more cool toned. And just a little bit here, and then a tad on the nose, just to create some shadow. And that's what a contour should really do. So I'm taking my little smaller brush, this is my Sonia G mini base brush, and I'm going to do this. What's lovely about this, can you see how easy it is to blend as well? So if I show you this side, I've blended it out now, and then I'm just going to do the same with the nose, just there, and then the same with the cheek on this side, a little bit up here, then a little bit on the shadow underneath here. But you can see that after blending, everything looks a little bit more sort of contoured, and it looks a little bit more cooler toned. But what it's done is made everything more sort of going in, and I like that because it's just created some shadow. So I'm pleased that I went back and swapped it. This is the shade Solace.